Welcome to Mind Research Rewired. We unveil scientific truths to transform confusion into clear thinking. Unlock a sharper, more effective you based on proven research. Subscribe now and elevate your life.
Have you ever found yourself maybe meeting someone new, like a colleague or, just someone at a party?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
And you instantly start trying to, figure them out. We all do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We gather info, form opinions, and sometimes, maybe without even realizing it, we get this first idea, like a hypothesis about who they might be.
Right, that initial gut feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But how objective are we really being? Are we truly open to everything, or do we maybe subconsciously have a goal, like confirming what we already think?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's do it.
Today's deep dive is into this really fascinating idea called confirmation skill.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's about the subtle ways, often totally unconscious, we go looking for information that, backs up our first guesses about people.
Yeah, it's not always about finding the objective truth. Sometimes it's about confirming our hunch.
We're pulling insights from a really great paper by Darden and Lyons from way back in '95. Still very relevant.
Definitely. Foundational stuff. And our mission here is to explore how our own personality traits and also the social situation who we're talking to, how these things really shape the questions we ask.
And even the answers we pay attention to, right?
Exactly. It's not just theory. This has real, everyday consequences for how well we actually get people and maybe how our relationships even work out.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is that this research, it goes way beyond just wanting to be right about someone.
Mm-hmm.
It sort of pulls back the curtain on these subconscious strategies we're using all the time when we try to figure someone out.
Uh-huh.
It shows our thinking isn't happening in a vacuum. It's constantly shaped by who we are inside our personality and the social world around us.
Right.
And a really key concept we'll get into, one that plays a huge part in all this, is self-monitoring.
Ah, yes, self-monitoring.
It's basically about how tuned in we are to social cues
Mm-hmm.
and how much we adjust ourselves based on them. This complex dance, really.
It really is. And to understand how we use this confirmation skill, the researchers, they set up this really clever experiment.
Right.
Imagine you're in their study. Your job is to figure out if someone is mostly an extrovert or mostly an introvert.
Okay.
So what kind of questions pop into your head? Would you ask about, I don't know, their biggest party night? Or maybe about curling up with a good book on a Sunday?
Yeah, where do you instinctively go with your questions?
Exactly. The study looked right at those choices.
Uh-huh.
And as you mentioned, this personality trait, self-monitoring, is central. The researchers basically put people into two main groups.
Broadly speaking, yeah.
You've got the high self-monitors. These are the folks who are super sensitive to social cues, almost like social chameleons.
Good way to put it.
They're really skilled at adjusting how they act, how they present themselves to fit whatever situation they're in, constantly reading the room, basically.
Adapting on the fly.
Right. Think of that person who just blends in anywhere, shifts their style depending on who they're talking to.
We probably all know someone like that.
Then on the flip side, you have the low self-monitors.
Okay.
These people are much less concerned with social appropriateness or what others expect. They tend to act pretty consistently with how they feel inside their true self.
Regardless of the situation.
Pretty much. They're more like a compass, always pointing north, Not really affected by the social magnets around them. Authenticity and consistency are big for them.
Got it. So two different styles.
Yeah. And the study watched how these two types chose questions, specifically whether they picked matching questions, ones likely to confirm their hypothesis.
Like asking an extrovert question if you think they're an extrovert.
Exactly that. Versus picking non-matching questions, which might challenge the hypothesis.
And to make it even clearer, it wasn't just ask whatever you want.
No, it was structure.
The participants were actually given a hypothesis to test. Your job is to find out if this person is an extrovert or introvert.
Right, that control is important.
Yeah, it let the researchers really zero in on whether our suspicions actively guide how we search for information.
Mm-hmm.
And crucially, they also looked at the types of questions chosen. Not just matching or non-matching, but were they leading questions?
Ah, okay. Explain that.
Well, leading questions are kind of subtly designed to push the interviewee towards a certain answer. maybe one that confirms the hypothesis,
Gotcha.
versus diagnostic questions. These are more open-ended, designed to get broader, maybe more objective info, without that built-in lean.
Okay, so leading pushes, diagnostic explores.
Pretty much. And understanding that difference helps us see the quality of the information seeking, not just, how many questions they asked. Are we genuinely trying to learn or just looking for confirmation?
Right. Okay, so here's where it gets really fascinating, especially with the high self-monitors. Remember, these are the socially tuned-in people.
Yeah.
How do they act when they're trying to get info about someone else?
What did they find?
The main thing was, high self-monitors are more sensitive to the environmental cues when requesting information.
Meaning they pick up on subtle stuff.
Exactly. Social signals from the other person, like how important they seem, their status, body language, maybe just the general vibe.
Okay, makes sense for high self-monitors.
And here's the kicker. When high self-monitors were talking to someone they saw as high status.
Oh, interesting. Status matters.
It really seemed to. They showed a really strong preference for matching questions. If they thought this high-status person was an extrovert, bam, they picked way more extrovert-confirming questions.
Really loading the dice, huh?
Totally. And same if they hypothesized introvert, they'd load up on introversion-confirming questions. It was a really clear pattern. Seek info to validate the initial hunch, especially when talking to someone perceived as higher status.
Wow. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, what does that tell us about their strategy?
Good question. What do you think?
Well, it seems like their tendency to adapt, manage impressions, maybe get info efficiently from someone important, that seems to be driving their question choice. It suggests their goal isn't just pure objective understanding. It might also be about, keeping things smooth socially, making a good impression.
Or just quickly confirming their read on this important person.
Exactly. It's a very socially savvy way to operate, but it means the information they gather isn't necessarily neutral, right? It's heavily shaped by the social hierarchy in that moment. Very pragmatic, maybe.
Very pragmatic. Now, what about when that same high self-monitor is talking to someone of equal status?
Okay. Does the bias stick around?
And this is where it gets nuanced. That strong matching preference they showed with high-status people, it pretty much vanished when they talked to an equal.
Really? It just disappeared?
Largely, yeah. The question selection became much more balanced. If they thought the person was an extrovert, they asked a more even mix of extrovert and introvert questions. That clear bias wasn't really there.
Wow. That's a critical distinction, isn't it?
Yeah, because it shows their confirmation strategy isn't, always on. It's context dependent.
Right. They turn it on or off.
Kind of. It seems they strategically use it when the social stakes feel higher, like with a high-status person. It's like they're thinking, okay, this interaction matters. Let me quickly validate my impression and adjust.
But with peers, the pressure's off.
Seems like it. When they're with equals, their information gathering looks much more open, less driven by needing to confirm, speaks volumes about their flexibility, their adaptability. Okay, so that's high self-monitors. Adaptable, sensitive to status. What about the low self-monitors, the consistent ones?
Yeah. Do they also change their questions based on status?
And here's the really clear contrast. For low self-monitors, that matching preference just didn't happen.
At all?
Pretty much not. They didn't show that sensitivity to the interviewee's status when picking questions. Whether they talked to someone high status or an equal, their approach stayed consistent.
So no sudden shift to asking more confirming questions just because the person seemed important?
Nope. Their pattern was much more stable across the board.
That really highlights the difference in their whole approach, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Low self-monitors. Their way of seeking information doesn't seem easily swayed by those external social cues, like status.
They stick to their guns, so to speak.
Yeah, they seem more direct, more consistent, less concerned with tailoring their questions to the social vibe or impressing anyone. It's like their internal compass is just stronger than the external social pressures. Which, this raises a really important question for you, the listener.
Yeah.
Which approach do you think actually leads to a more accurate understanding of someone? Is it the adaptable, socially aware, high self-monitor who gets quick, maybe socially useful info, but might miss conflicting details?
Oh.
Or is it the consistent, less influenced, low self-monitor who might get a more, unvarnished view, but maybe misses some of the social stuff that shapes how people present themselves?
That's a tough one. No easy answer there.
Definitely something to chew on when you're trying to get to know someone, or even understand yourself, maybe.
For sure. Okay, so beyond just matching questions and status, the research found some other really neat patterns, too.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, remember the difference between leading and diagnostic questions?
The pushy ones versus the open ones.
Right. They found people tended to accept more leading questions when they were testing the hypothesis that someone was an introvert.
Huh. So trying to confirm quietness made them favor questions that nudge towards quiet answers.
Seems like it. But interestingly, they accepted more diagnostic questions, the open-ended ones, when the hypothesis was extrovert.
That is fascinating. So we might use different tactics depending on the trait we're looking for?
It suggests that, yeah, like maybe we're more comfortable asking leading questions to confirm introversion, but prefer more open exploration for extroversion. It's subtle.
Yeah, it's really nuanced. It's not just what we ask, but how. That could point to some, I don't know, subconscious comfort levels with different kinds of questions for different traits.
Right.
It suggests a more complex process than just confirming yes or no. We're kind of adjusting our methods based on the nature of the guess itself.
Okay, another key thing. The difference between actively asking questions yourself versus just accepting questions someone else wrote down.
Ah, okay. Did that make a difference?
Big time. They found a much stronger preference for matching questions when people were actually generating and asking the questions themselves.
Like almost twice as strong?
Something like that, yeah. Compared to when they were just picking from a preset list.
Interesting. So being in the driver's seat brings out the bias more?
It implies that, yeah, when we're actively constructing the questions, maybe our biases have freer reign.
That makes sense. We shape the questions to fit our mental model. But if the questions are just handed to us,
we might be a bit less biased, or at least the bias isn't as strong in the selection.
yeah, maybe we engage slightly differently. It's a subtle but really powerful difference in how bias shows up, passive reception versus active construction.
And then there's this thing they call the rejection paradox.
Ooh, sounds intriguing. Rejection paradox.
Yeah, it's pretty counterintuitive. They found a greater matching preference, more bias, when people were in the rejection condition.
Meaning when they were deciding which questions not to use, throwing questions out.
Exactly. Deciding which ones to discard from a list.
Wait, so deciding what doesn't fit made them more biased towards confirming their original idea.
That's what the data suggested. You'd think discarding stuff would make you more objective, right?
Totally. That is a paradox.
Yeah.
It suggests that when we actively weed out the stuff that doesn't fit our hypothesis, we might actually dig our heels in even harder on our initial belief.
More so than just picking stuff that does fit.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the act of rejecting the contradictory evidence makes our original hypothesis feel even stronger, more validated.
Huh. Like if you're trying to prove someone's an extrovert and you actively throw out all the introvert questions.
You're not just confirming, you're actively pruning away the contradictions. It makes your belief feel more solid, maybe more justified in your own mind.
Wow. That adds another layer of complexity to how we process information, doesn't it?
It really does. It shows how these biases work at different stages: selection, generation, even rejection.
So, okay, bringing it all together, what does this actually mean for us, day to day?
Yeah, the takeaway.
Well, this deep dive into confirmation skill, it really shows pretty clearly, I think, that how we gather information about people isn't some neutral, objective thing.
Definitely not.
It's deeply shaped by our own personality, especially the self-monitoring aspect, and by the social situation, like who we're talking to and their status. So think about your own interactions. When you're trying to learn about someone new, do you notice yourself changing your questions based on how important they seem or their status?
Yeah, do you lean more towards that high self-monitor style, subtly looking for info that fits your first impression, especially with influential people? Maybe to make things go smoothly.
Or are you more like a low self-monitor?
Yeah.
More consistent, asking similar questions regardless of who it is, less swayed by those social cues?
It's a great lens to examine our own habits, isn't it?
It really is.
And this research strongly suggests that our desire to confirm what we initially think, or just our sensitivity to the social setting, can literally shape the evidence we collect.
Yeah, we end up gathering stuff that supports our existing view.
Exactly. Which makes you wonder, right? How often do we miss really important insights about people because we're unknowingly prioritizing confirming our hunch over, genuine open discovery?
It's a bit sobering, actually.
It is. And if our search for information is unconsciously shaped by who we're talking to, the whole context, how we see ourselves in relation to them, what does that ultimately mean for our ability to truly understand another person?
Or even ourselves, maybe.
Or even ourselves. It's a powerful thought to leave people with. Is our pursuit of understanding others truly open-minded? Or are we often, without even realizing it, just kind of playing to the room and reinforcing the stories we already believe?
Yes, that is something for all of us to think about. We have come to the end of today's deep dive. If you like the content of our podcast and learned something useful, please subscribe to support our channel. We will continue to unveil cutting-edge scientific papers to bring clarity to your thinking and elevate your life. Thank you.